So hello and welcome, I'm Frederick Dunn and this is The Way to Be. Today we're going to follow up on a Top-Bar Hive, and I'm starting this out with, of course, the 2 Queen Keepers hive system, which is going gangbusters. It is September of 2025. This video is being made on September the 18th. This is a Top-Bar Hive by Be Mindful. There's a colony in either end of it. The last inspection was about 18 days ago. I intended to wait 20 days and do a follow-up inspection, but if you can see here at the entrance, we know that there's a lot of pollen coming in. This colony had swarmed. There were multiple queen cells inside of it, and now it looks like they've chosen their queen and things are going well. So we're going to take a look, because we also expanded it. We added a lot more top bars, and we're going to see how they used them. At this end, very tiny colony. This was an insurance policy in case they did not requeen at the other end. We would have just combined the 2 colonies and we would have had a queen right colony. But now that they're both doing well, we're going to follow them through. And this is late in the year. This is the northeastern part of the United States, the northwestern part of the state of Pennsylvania, and this hive is from Be Mindful. So Top-Bar Hives, this is my first year with one. And it's a lot of fun, I have to say. This would have to be high on my list when it comes to the ease of inspection. It's basically a big table, right at the height you want to put it, and then all you do is lift top bars and look at them. Now I'm doing a smokeless inspection. I'm starting to enjoy this thing more and more. This is a vape system, and the bees react to it in a nice mild way, which keeps things nice and calm. We are still in a nectar flow here. So, we're going to take this apart. Now the top bars that I'm pulling up here are part of the in-between space. So we have 2 follower boards. The one on the right there, this is made out of redwood. The bees can pass through just barely. And on the other side, there was the follower board that's provided by Be Mindful that comes with the kit. And these are the feeders that I now have. So I'm going to be putting these in. This will allow me to resuscitate the colony with sugar syrup if I need to. If not, I'm just going to put it in there and let them propolize it up for me. So we'll see what happens. And you're seeing it as I am. So we're going to pull it open and just see what we find. Now there are 15 top bars on this side, and a lot of them had no production on them at all, no comb, and they were just barely primed with beeswax on the underside. So I've stopped using starter strips. We're going to see what happens here. And they are propolizing nicely, so I'm going to show you the other side of this follower board. And with the follower board we can expand and contract the size of the hive kind of infinitely, up to, of course, limitations of the hive itself. I'm starting to wish the hive were even longer. So they propolized it. Look at the edges there. They use propolis to seal things up. It's a medicinal benefit to the hive as well. And as we can see already, things are going extremely well. So here in September, on the 18th, look at all that brand new honeycomb. So the bees make this out of their own beeswax, of course. And the only thing that we're providing them with is a top bar to attach to, and then we'll pull it out. We have to be very careful. This is a hot day, and this is brand new beeswax. If I flip this sideways right now, I would probably lose them. It would just fall apart. It's that soft. So we have to be very careful with new honeycomb, particularly when it's full of ripening honey or nectar, whatever you want to call it at this point. They're finishing it off, and look, there was some braised comb. That, just see how soft that is. It's just falling down on its own. Now I would normally in another hive collect this, throw it in a bucket, and keep that honeycomb, but that's brand new pristine beeswax, and guess what they can do? They can repurpose it. It also has ripening honey in it, which means they're drying it down. This gives you a little indicator of the temperature that we have here, 75.7 degrees Fahrenheit. Nice hot day, and it gives you the date, September the 18th of 2025. I intended to wait 20 days, as I mentioned before, but I decided this is a perfect day to look into it. So the first 2 top bars, which were empty before, now have honeycomb, and we do have some cross combing going on, and I don't think it's terrible. I'm not going to do anything at this point to try to correct it. The honeybees are going to consume that exposed honey now, and they'll just do their own repairs. So I'm fine with this. I'm just going to leave it there. But look at the amount of comb. They've drawn it across the length of the bar, all the way down, and we have 15 top bars now. This is becoming a sizable colony, and I have to say I'm impressed with their progress. And they're bringing in pollen at more than 20 loads of pollen per minute right now. So this is really promising. I'm starting to think that this colony is going to get going and possibly make it right through winter here in the snow belt. We're going to see. I also have some insulation I'm going to be putting on these top bars, so we're not going to leave them as is. I'm going to see how things go. I'm just going to give you a close look here. We'll put the camera down inside and give you a good glimpse. Look at the capped honey at the top. That's good news. Keep in mind too, all new comb. The other thing is these bees are very calm. I only used the vape at the beginning, and it works really well. I'm really glad I'm not smoking them. Don't need to. Look at all that honey just glistening there. This is good. This is great news. Very happy. You can tell this is all brand new. So this is, even if they don't make it through winter, which I anticipate they actually might, we will have a lot of comb to work with in spring. So look at all these top bars. Now the cross combing isn't bad, I guess. Now I am new to top bar beekeeping. I'm not new to beekeeping. I've been keeping bees here on this property since 2006. So I just enjoy testing out other configurations, and I'm really interested in the top bar. And we did feed them right after the last inspection. I will give you a link down in the video description, and you can look at the video so you can see what they looked like 18 days ago. And I put a couple of packets of Hive Alive Easy Feed on the inside by the follower board, and they drank those. So they did get a jump start. But right now, I am not going to feed them. I'm not going to do anything else. We have a lot of nectar coming in. We still have a decent nectar flow with goldenrod, asters. There's a lot out there. And the population looks okay to me. Keep in mind, this is at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So most of the foragers from this colony are out and about. So just imagine a lot more bees in here doing a lot more work. And the beeswax is very soft, as I mentioned. I see no reason to pick it up and try to flip it upside down. That's just the idea that that could be a disaster, because even while I'm moving these top bars, it swings a little bit. The wax swings like a pendulum, and it's very soft. Here's a lot of capped honey, nice honey frame, a little tougher looking. You can tell the darker colors, those amber tones. And the bees are very calm because they're happy. They've got a lot of resources in them, and they tend to be not defensive. The other thing is they're definitely queen right. So we're fine. No emergency queen requeening necessary. And I want to show you this brace comb on the side, the propolis that they're doing. So the propolis envelope is really, really important for the bees. And I think it just looks fantastic. This is the feeder we're going to be putting in, of course. I want to get it out of the way, but I'm thinking I'm not going to pull every frame. I'm just looking to see how they're situated, and of course I got the answers I needed. They are storing honey, they're building infrastructure. It's another indicator that they're queen right, because a colony that does not have a queen loses its will to build new comb. They don't do very good at maintenance. They also make a lot of noise, and they're a little scattered and animated when you open the hive. They're scooting all over the frames. They might be a little more defensive than they otherwise would be. We see some spread wing behavior in a colony that doesn't have a queen. This colony is as content and calm as any that I have. Look how soft that beeswax is. So I'm just being very careful to align them exactly as they were when I moved them over in the first place. And especially this piece right here. Look at that. It just, any movement, and it's like rubber. So we want to keep that going, and as I mentioned, now that I've seen them, I'm not going to feed them. However, I am going to put the feeder in the event that we get suddenly a big blast of terrible weather or something. I'm going to follow up and look at the brood at another time, not today. And also look at the feeder. It has lots of space. If you notice, I didn't scoot the bees out of the way before I put it in, and that's because bees can go right under it, and they can pass through either end. So I think that's interesting too. And then when I put the follower board in, that will kind of close it up even more. And then we'll have this common area between the two. All I did was walk over and shake off the bees from the follower board near the entrance so they can go in. You can see bees walk right under that feeder. So we have the feeder if we need it. That's good news. I still have some room for expansion if I need to do that. The space between the two colonies here. And we are going to look at the tiny colony at the other end here. So I'm just setting up the camera so we can do that, and we'll get these bars out of the way. What's easier than lifting and moving top bars by themselves? Nothing. This is a cinch. This is comfortable. No bending over, no lifting, by the way. So if you have troubles lifting things and you just want to lift one frame at a time, you might want to take a look at the horizontal hive configurations. This is very simple, very easy. Now, of course, these frames aren't built for extraction. You are looking at a hive that if the honey were finished, if this were a mature colony and we were going to harvest honey, we would be cutting the comb with the capped honey off and doing a crush and strain process. And then, of course, the bees would have to rebuild their comb before winter hit and refill those cells with honey resources that they need to get through winter, because those are their carbohydrates. Now we're down to 6 top bars here, so this is a very small colony. I'm looking at the amount of propolis that they've done. I kind of want to see what's going on here. It looks like there's a bit of a chewed old queen cell down at the bottom. Very frustrating that even a tiny colony like this would have recently swarmed. And you just can't always plan ahead for that. So there's some pollen here. There's some nectar in it. This has not been fed at all. So they got no emergency rations. And look at the funny comb they've built here. I did, at the beginnings of it, of course, attach old honeycomb to the top bars to see how they would manage it. And you can kind of see the transitions there because there's differences in cell sizes and cell orientation even. They're kind of all over the place. Look on the left, we have nice big cells here. Good honey in the middle. We have some pollen, some capped honey, but you also have, look at the large cells there. So no real brood yet on these frames, so I guess they're using them for just honey stores. Tiny colonies, don't underestimate them. They can surprise you, especially if we put some extra insulation on this going into winter. Even these tiny colonies can, for some reason, just make it through. But I would like to see them pull out this comb more. I'm just scratching the top bars a little bit there so that I don't get them turned around. I want to make sure and put them back exactly as they are. And as I mentioned, it's a nice hot day, so I can take my time, but it also means the comb is very soft. And you can see they've got their own little passageways through just under the top bar there. We've got capped brood here, and capped brood on this side. Tiny numbers. I would like to see a lot more bees than this. Keep in mind, just like the other end though, you would probably double the number of bees in here at the end of the day when the foragers have all returned. There is a lot of activity at the entrance. And here we have more capped honey. We've got some brood, and there's the queen. So not hard to find a queen in a colony this tiny. She's not marked, of course, and they are attending to her. She's laying eggs, so there are eggs. There's larvae. There's capped pupa. So not like a real showcase of a colony that's on the rise, but they're going along here. Give you a close-up look here. The queen, again, new comb. So these bees had to spend a lot of their resources building comb. So some people like to say they're either building comb or raising bees because they use a lot of energy, and the carbohydrate comes from, of course, the honey itself. So they do use honey resources when they're building honeycomb. And we're down to the last 2 top bars here. I'm just going to take a quick look at the number 2 bar there. Supervisor showed up, wants to know what I'm doing. He's got to tell me some things. He turns 10 tomorrow, actually, so he's old and wise. So we have capped brood. We have some tremble dancers there going. We've got some capped honey. And I suspect that as they continue to grow, and looking at the weather report ahead, we have warm enough weather that they're going to be able to continue to build comb. That's my favorite thing with this colony at this end. I am going to probably put some sugar syrup in here in their feeder to allow them to concentrate more on the work they're doing other than building drawn comb. So we've got this really small bit here on the farthest top bar. I may add a couple of top bars and put the feeder on, and if they don't get them drawn out, I'll just remove them when I'm packing down for winter. That's another thing. A top bar colony like this, packing down or expanding the colony is just a matter of shifting top bars left or right of your follower boards. So again, that feeder has space around it. The bees can come through, but I'm going to block that up. This is the follower board that comes with the hive. You can buy them directly from Be Mindful, and they're not very expensive, including shipping. So this is turning out to be a lot of fun. Now I have extra top bars because I've taken up space with the feeders, so we're going to have to get those out of here and see how they work out the rest of the week. But at least for the next week, we have temps in the 70s all the way up to 80. That is prime for comb building. If it were really cold, if we dropped into the 60s, that would be a challenge for them. But I'm going to take advantage of this warm weather, and I think I'm going to help this colony at the end build their comb by boosting them with some resources. We have not checked these for mites at all. We haven't done any mite treatments on this hive. We are just tracking them, see how they do. So again, on the right there, 15 top bars. And the left, only 6. And then that little space in between. So we're running out of room for expansion here. And we got a problem closing it. So the feeder that goes in sticks up too high. So that's easy to pull off to check the feed, but see, it pumps right into that mid strut. So we can't divide the colony directly in half with a feeder. Gonna have to move it once again. This is going to be easy to do though. I'll just take a top bar over here. I'll shift the feeder to the left, and then we'll drop a couple new top bars in. And see if they can build that out now. I bet they do though. They are so productive on this end. I'll just bet you in advance they're going to build comb onto those 2 bars. And we'll do a follow-up inspection in another 2 weeks. So we'll see what's going on. And of course in 2 weeks, what will we be doing? We'll be in October. So then we'll just kind of be able to assess their chances of survival going into winter. So I want to thank you for watching. Hope you found this interesting and are satisfied with your update on the Top-Bar Hive. I'm Frederick Dunn. This is the way to be.